Morning. Bill, you're wearing the wrong color today, buddy. You didn't get the memo.
As you know, or maybe you don't know, but sometimes you take whatever's on top of your dresser drawer and you ready in the morning.
I don't know about that.
That's how it worked.
Okay. That sounds like an excuse to me. Not all at once.
That, I mean, the joint practice is what it is, but it's also your last practice of training camp. Like typically on a last practice of camp, is it any?
Well, it's not our last practice of camp.
Right, or will you practice things?
We'll see. So what were you getting at, though?
Just like, it's a little, maybe, is it unusual to have a last practice of camp like this? And is there anything you typically would want to do in a last practice?
Not necessarily, but I do think it's a pretty cool experience for our guys with these open practices. We talked about it in the team meeting this morning, just in terms of the tradition with the kids riding the bikes, what a great experience it is for those kids and how memorable it will be for them. And just, don't take it for granted.
You communicate that with the Ravens too, because there's a whole lot of fans waiting outside their locker room as well.
I did not, but I know our people did with them, and I think they're participating in it as well. And I think it's a pretty cool deal. I know a couple years ago we did it with the Texans when they were here, and they did that. So, yeah, it should be a good experience.
Is Morgan ready for team yet?
We'll work them through, and we'll see where we're at after Indy.
I know you don't probably game plan for this, but do you run some Ravens stuff just so you guys, Lamar Jackson's a different player obviously than most quarterbacks. Do you at least some preparation so you guys are familiar with what they want to do?
Yes. You have to do a little bit, but I mean, I would be shocked if they're going to, I shouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised if they're going to do a bunch of quarterback run game in a practice.
So all preparation for the opener, and I don't mean from a strategic point like you're preparing for the Eagles, but I mean the ramp up to getting to the regular season. Does it kind of start with this practice here?
Well, I think that's what we've been doing this whole time, is you're ramping up always, and the intensity, and certainly it's always great to go against a competitive team like the Baltimore Ravens, one of the premier teams in the National Football League, a team that there's not many holes on that roster. And then when you watch the tape, you can really see that their style of play is one that you want to emulate. So I got a lot of respect for what they've been able to do there, and we're just looking forward to competing against them and getting better today.
Jordan play on Saturday?
We'll see.
Is there something that needs to happen today one way or another that would determine that?
We'll see.
For you during these joint practices, how do you divide your time, or do you just pick one side of the ball to?
I'll primarily be with the offense today.
Did you ever figure out?
We are. However, we're going to have the 2-minute drill. We're going to get both teams on the same field, which I think it's pretty cool for, everybody to support one another and see how both sides of the ball are doing.
Did you ever figure out how Love's arm got hit last week? And,
oh yeah, I saw it.
So it was the Broncos player.
Yeah, it was 100%.
Did you do any extra steps in talking with Howard?
No, certainly I know the message. It's going to be the same both ways. They're in a different colored shirt for a reason. Stay off the quarterback. It's not that difficult, and I get it. Guys are competing. They want to make a play, but at the same time, it's, those guys are hard to come by. and you want to give both teams, hopefully have the respect for one another that, we'll stay off the quarterback.
What's the standard when it comes to, especially in that situation, addressing or scolding, coaching up another team's player? Is that fair game? If a guy touches your quarterback, it's totally...
Yeah, typically you'd like to focus on yourself, and hopefully you really want the position coach to police that. You know what I'm saying? So if our guy ever got too close, I expect our position coaches to handle that and let them know that that's not acceptable.
You've got almost a full training camp with Rasheed Walker as your starter out of the way. Obviously, it wasn't until week 2 last year as your starter. Curious whether you noticed the difference in his growth from 1 year to last year.
Well, I think Sheed's a guy that he loves ball, and he puts in the work, and he does it all off season. Man, Wayne, you didn't get the memo. Wayne didn't get the memo about coming in here late. But I think he truly loves the process, and he grinds at it. And I think that he's starting to pick up the detail that really starts to separate some of the players in this league. So I'm excited to, see where he goes this year. I think he's got a high ceiling.
What is that detail? Footwork?
It's all the little details from the footwork to really studying your opponents, how people rush at you, to how you come off the ball. I mean, all the fundamentals that it takes to play the game. I think the guys that are truly elite in any sport just master the mundane and master all the fundamentals, and they make the routine things look so simplistic. But I think it's really hard to do. It takes a lot of deliberate practice, a lot of focus and concentration, and just being super intentional about what you're doing.
Hey Matt, going back to Lamar for a second, even if it isn't a lot of the run stuff, just how beneficial is that for this defense to kind of work against someone like him and just kind of the caliber of player that he is?
Well, I think you saw it last week in terms of some of the rush lanes. I think you got to be so disciplined with your rush lanes when you're going against any quarterback that can move, but specifically this guy who's he might be the fastest player on the field every time he suits up on Sunday. So I think it's going to be a great test, and to just see how disciplined we can be, because no matter what group was out there last week, it wasn't good enough. Whether it was in practice or in the game, there were a lot of opportunities where Denver's quarterbacks were able to, there were some huge holes in there for them to either scramble up and make a throw or scramble up and take off downfield and move the chains with their legs.
Yeah, what kind of camp has Josh Jacobs had? And then, do you expect him to hit the ground running week 1, or is it going to be a little bit of a process to get ready or to get used to what you guys do?
No, I think he's had an outstanding camp. I still think there's certain things that certainly he's getting adjusted to. But I would say he's a pro, and he approaches it the right way, and I expect him to hit the ground running.
What have you seen from Christian Watson this off-season and this training camp, and how has he kind of just changed from the last couple of years, if at all?
Well, he's certainly been more healthy, right? I mean, I think just everything he did from the summertime on, really from last off-season on, just having him available and being out there has been big for us.
How much of that was him wanting to figure out a way to get the hamstring issue?
I think it was all of us. I think it was a collective effort, but certainly as a player, he's a competitor. He wants to be out there and competing and working on his craft and getting better each and every day. And when you're not out there, it's hard to do that.
Along those lines, with him and Stokes both, do you feel like everything's a success? I mean, they've gone every single day from May all the way through.
You love to just test me.
Right, but it's a long grind going these 3 days of practice consecutively, like they have done, right?
Well,
Would that been maybe the big measuring stick there?
maybe. I think every day is a measuring stick. So, I mean, you just can't take it for granted. Yesterday wasn't, was more of a jog through. We took care of them, to make sure that today we get the output that we want. But I think everything is it's a constant measuring stick, a constant test.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank-
More information on Dylan.
On who?
Dylan?
AJ? Yeah, we're still kind of waiting. It's a wait and see, waiting for a couple more opinions to come back.